everybody, thank you for coming, thank you for watching, if you're watching on YouTube. The title of my talk today, Healing All Relationships. This title was actually given to me because I am going to be part of this virtual conference that will take place in October, and I am in the process of preparing my presentation for them. I need to prepare a 30-minute video for them. And the theme for that conference is Healing All Relationships. So it's challenging me to talk about relationships. Now, I generally don't talk about relationships. I probably spent 20 years talking about relationships, and I have moved on. But maybe that's not it at all. I don't know. The last time I spoke about not being conflict averse, not being averse or negatively reacting and trying to avoid conflict. That's actually not a very healing modality. And maybe I don't talk about relationships because I'm trying to avoid conflict. Because relationships, talking about them, engaging in them, will always bring you into some kind of conflict. The idea that you can have a relationship of any kind of depth and not have conflict is absolutely absurd. In fact, it's the relationship's job to bring up some kind of resistance, some kind of conflict. If you don't have some kind of conflict in your relationship, you don't have much of a relationship going on there. You're just recreating together, which is no problem, but it's not really, I would call, a relationship. Course in Miracles says conflict must be resolved. It cannot be evaded. So you can't evade conflict by just evading all your relationships. The thing to do is to get involved with your relationships and resolve conflict when the conflict comes up. The conference that I'm going to be part of is being run by an organization named Miracle Share. This is the third time they have done it. I've taken part in all three of their conferences, so I'm really grateful to them. I want to thank Corinne and Craig and Danielle for inviting me again to be part of the Miracle Share Conference. Just so you know, it's October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And if you click on the link right here, we hope, you will go to a page that will allow you to sign up for the conference. It's very reasonably priced. It's $87. You get the entire weekend. There's 26 presenters. Each presenter has a 30-minute recording, and then somebody, probably Craig, but maybe one of Danielle or Corinne, then is there to answer calls, and people call in and ask questions. So it's a great thing. Relationships. There's so much in A Course in Miracles about relationships, it's really hard to center into what to talk about, actually. So I've tried to narrow it down to the things that seem most significant to me. It says, you have decided your brother or sister is your enemy. Sometimes a friend, perhaps, provided that your separate interests made your friendship possible a little while. So these brothers and sisters that we relate to, I mean, sometimes it seems nice because our separate little interests are jiving, but inevitably they won't jive, and then it's a problem. And we tend then to get upset, and we're in conflict, and we think of them then as an enemy. And then it says, made your friendship possible a little while, but not without a gap between you, lest he turn again into an enemy. Let him come close to you, and you jumped back. As you approached, he instantly withdrew. A cautious friendship, limited in scope and carefully restricted in amount, became the treaty you had made with him. You shared a qualified entente, in which a clause of separation was a point on which you both agreed to keep intact, and violating this was thought to be a breach of treaty not to be allowed. So this is generally how we perceive and how we function in our relationships, even in our most intimate ones. It's all qualified. We have this qualified agreement. And if the person breaks that agreement, we know that we can always leave. We always have exit strategies in our relationships. That's what it's talking about. And when people do things that upset us a lot, we know that we can take the way out. And A Course in Miracles just wants us to look at that. Just to look at that. Now, you get in trouble when you talk about this because people will inevitably bring up, what about if you're in an abusive relationship? What if you're in a physically abusive relationship? I mean, you have to get out, don't you? And I say, it's a challenge. And yes, you have to do what you're guided to do. And if you are guided to not associate with a person physically, then you do that. Because that's your guidance. But for me, it's important to remember maybe and to realize that the relationship doesn't end just because you physically don't share a space that much anymore. Your relationship with that person remains. Relationships are not about physical proximity. They're about something else. Maybe because I'm being challenged by this talk and relationships, I've decided to look at some of mine. And there are a lot of relationships that you have. And I'm not talking about just the romantic ones or the intimate ones. We have relationships with all kinds of people. And I have relationships with lots of people in the Course in Miracles community. And I have relationships with friends and associates. And I am working to heal those relationships. I just realized that it's just time. I just have to heal them. I've had probably not the friendliest relationship with the Foundation for Inner Peace for many, many, many years. And I am working on healing that relationship with the FIP and all the people associated with the FIP. And it started with a nice interaction with Tam Morgan around the beginning of the year. And I want everybody to know that in September, I'm going to have lunch with Judy Scutch and Bill Whitson and Tam Morgan over in Marin. And I'm really excited about it. This is a great healing for me. And I'm really honored that they asked me to come. We're having some people here in September that are going to be doing a benefit for the Foundation for Inner Peace. It was a challenge for me for many reasons. Not that I didn't want to do a benefit, but I was concerned about how much money could we raise, what would it look like if we didn't raise a lot of money. And I just had to put all that aside and decide, working with David Fishman and the One Mind Foundation and Cheryl Kaplan, that we would do this fundraiser. So just be aware of it. On Sunday, September 18th, I believe, Sunday, September 18th, there's a woman that will be here from Spain, Carolyn Carrada. She is a big Course in Miracles teacher and organizer in Spain. She also, along with talking about A Course in Miracles, does this movement thing with A Course in Miracles called Intradanza. So please come to that. It's a fundraiser for the Foundation for Inner Peace. All the proceeds will go to the Foundation for Inner Peace, and I will just have had lunch with all of them on the day before. Now, I just think it's tremendous, and I'm just very, very happy that that healing is taking place. Course in Miracles says, many have spent a lifetime in preparation for the holy instant and have indeed achieved their instance of success. Okay? This course does not attempt to teach more than they have learned in time, but it does aim at saving time. You are attempting to follow a very long road to the goal you have accepted. It is extremely difficult to reach atonement by fighting against sin. Enormous effort is expended in the attempt to make holy what is hated and despised. We try to reach the holy instant. We try to reach that instant where we're connected with God, where we're connected with the divine, where we feel the presence of the divine in our mind. And we do it in many ways, and usually we think we have to deny something about our identity and ourselves. We have to deny our physicality. We have to deny maybe sexuality. We have to be careful what we eat. We have to do all kinds of things in order to really feel connected to the divine, to the Holy Spirit. And what it's saying is, you may be able to do that. You will have your instance of success if you do things like that. If you just try to physically lead the holy life that you think a holy person leads. However, what it says is it's tedious and time-consuming. It just takes too long. And it says even those periods of meditation, those long periods of meditation that so many people believe are what's going to get you in touch with God, there's a faster way. A Course in Miracles is really a faster way. It says, nor is a lifetime of contemplation with long periods of meditation aimed at detachment from the body necessary. All such attempts will ultimately succeed because of their purpose. Yeah, get this. Yet the means are tedious and very time-consuming. See, all those things, fighting against sin, leading a holy life, spending long periods in meditation every day where you feel and make an effort to merge with the divine, it's tedious and time-consuming. A Course in Miracles is a different path. And the path that A Course in Miracles is the path of relationships. And it just says it right here. Your way will be different, not in purpose, but in means. A holy relationship is a means of saving time. One instant spent together restores the universe to both of you. So people always battle and think about, I don't know how to talk about A Course in Miracles. When somebody asks me what it is about and they struggle with all the Christian terminology, throw that out the window. A Course in Miracles is a course that's about our relationships with one another. It's a course that understands that in relating to people, friends, associates, lovers, family, whatever, conflict will come up. And it's in our ability to resolve that conflict and still feel that oneness and connection with the other person through the guidance of the Holy Spirit. That's how we heal. That's how we know God. It's not about long periods of meditation, though a little meditation is in A Course in Miracles. It's not about leading this holy, pure life, being a vegan, or whatever it is you think you got to do, wear natural fibers. You can do any of those things if you're guided to do it, but that's not what A Course in Miracles is. A Course in Miracles is very simply, it's a path to God through a different perception about relationships, period. That's it. Just tell people that. That's what it is. I remember when I took the S training. I am an S-hole, yes. And I took the S training many years ago. And Werner Erhard, he had some amazing things that he did and said, and there's a lot of controversy about him and whatever. But Werner Erhard said that having real relationships is very advanced. He said that, and not that many people are ready for it. I forget, he gave a percentage. He just pulled it out of his hat, but it was something like 90% of the people aren't really ready to have relationships. Mostly they want recreation. They want people to recreate with. They want people they can get together with, do fun things, and have a great time. They want to recreate. But relationships, he says, is something really, really different, because that's where your crap comes up. And he knew it. He might as well have been quoting from A Course in Miracles there. I mean, he was capsulizing the A Course in Miracles philosophy right there in that. And then he added a little caveat. He says, but of course, if you get together with somebody and the recreation is really good, he says it's going to go right into a relationship, and there you are with all of your stuff. A Course in Miracles says that when we're in these relationships and the conflict comes up, it gives us a prayer to say to ourselves. And it is this, and many of you who are Course in Miracles students, of course, will know this. I desire this holy instant for myself, that I may share it with my brother whom I love. It is not possible that I can have it without him, or he without me, yet it is wholly possible for us to share it now, and so I choose this instant as the one to offer to the Holy Spirit, that his blessing may descend on us and keep us both in peace. So, what is A Course in Miracles about? It's about so many things, but forget that Jesus Christ, Son of God stuff, and just tell people it's about relationships. It's about a new perception of relationships, and we can all do it. When I talk about relationships, I don't necessarily mean those intimate love relationships. Some people think that. But, you do want it to include them too. It certainly doesn't exclude them. And I think there are some important things that we need to remember about those. It says the special love relationship is the ego's most boasted gift, and one which has the most appeal to those unwilling to relinquish guilt. So, those special love relationships that we have are very, very ego invested. Our ego just loves those. Our ego loves it that we have this special partner that we can point to, and it's like a proof that we're all right. I must be all right. I have this special person here who will spend time with me and do all kinds of things with me, maybe that other people won't do. And it's the ego's most boasted gift, so ego stuff is going to come up. And then it says again, focusing in on how the holy relationship is actually the means for salvation. It says the holy relationship is a major step toward the perception of the real world. It is learned. It is the old unholy relationship transformed and seen anew. The holy relationship is a phenomenal teaching accomplishment. So the holy relationship, offering that holy instant up, like the prayer that I just read, when conflict comes up, asking the Holy Spirit to descend upon us and bring peace to you and your partner, that is a major step towards the perception of the real world, and the perception of the real world is what, again, A Course in Miracles is all about. It's about us having a different experience, a different perception of this world, and seeing this world as a reflection of reality, or seeing this world as the real world, and we do it through having holy relationships. Relationships that we've offered up to the Holy Spirit, relationships which every time there is conflict, we say that holy instant prayer and ask the holy instant's peace to descend upon us. One other thing, one last thing. Before you think that it's all just straightforward and that we're all to go out there and find those relationships and get involved, there's always this passage that always gets me going. It says, every step taken in the making, the maintaining, and the breaking off of the unholy relationship is a move toward further fragmentation and unreality. The shadow figures enter more and more, and the one to whom they seem to be decreases in importance. So, it's not actually about going out there and forming the relationships. It's not actually about going out there and making sure that your relationships are working. It's not about maintaining them, and it's not about breaking off the unholy ones. There is a certain level of ego involvement that you just have to let go of. You just have to let the Holy Spirit be guiding you, bringing the relationships to you that are there for you to have, that are there for you to engage with. Isn't necessary to go out there and set them up. And once they're there, it isn't necessary to work at making sure that they last. And if they're not going too well, it's not your place to see what you can do to break away because of that qualified entente you have, that qualified agreement you have, that now they violated and so you want to leave. All of that is ego stuff. To really create holy relationships is to really let go of all your ego investment in the relationship and really just truly allow them to be guided by the Holy Spirit and by the divine. When we do that, they are holy. When we do that, we are at peace. When we do that, we bring peace to other people. I was really aware of people that I had not been at peace with this past week. And I knew it because it reflected in my own peace. So I made a commitment this week just to heal all of the ones I could think of, even if they were just acquaintances. I realized I had been abrupt with a woman on the phone, and yesterday I called her up, the woman who's helping organize this Carolyn Carrata event, and I apologized. I said, I'm just really sorry. Things weren't quite the way I had conceptualized them. Things weren't quite the way I thought they were going to be. I was reacting. So what? I let it go. I'm just going to let things be exactly the way they are. I'm not going to resist it. Whatever happens, happens, and I'm sorry. And she, of course, said, great, no problem. Everything's going to be fine. And now she's staying at my house for the event. So things happen the way they happen. But I was so glad that I was able to heal that. I just felt so much better. I'm so glad that I'm going to go have lunch with Judy Scotch and Tam Morgan and probably Bob Rosenthal and maybe Bill Whitson. I had lunch with them once. I think it was about 25 years ago. I think it's time to have lunch with them again. It's just what happened. It's just what evolved. I didn't make a big effort egoically to set any of that up. It all got set up for me. I was actually making a huge effort to resist it. And I had to see that and let that resistance go so that I could truly be in the holy instant and in the holy place, because relationships are truly the means that A Course in Miracles has for bringing us to salvation. And that is my talk for today. Thank you very much.